Hey everybody, what's going on tonight? Let me know you can hear me. Make sure your volume's down over there, my man. John Burnett, hey, what's going on? Dirk Connor, it's awesome that you're here. Thank you very much for tuning in to Extreme Bronco Live here on Wednesday night. And we have the sand edition tonight, right? Talking about the beach and how's the Bronco do off road and things like that. Bronco 78, good evening. Make sure you can hear me. Becky made me turn the volume down. Is it better?
Yeah.
Last week she said it's a
I'm-
little. I like it loud
I've
though,
been
so you
going
can hear.
deaf the last couple weeks. Because whenever we start, I'm like,
That's
because like.
it's a little loud for you there. But anyway, so yeah, tonight we're gonna let a few people join, and then we'll get into a couple different things. You see, we have on All Terrain Nation. They got to lean over here a little bit. All Terrain Nations t-shirts tonight. We'll talk about that in just a second. But we're going to talk about how both of our Broncos, the 21 and 22 Badlands, how do they perform in the sand? Now, trust me, it's nothing crazy. I get it. But we did go. What did you think about the ruts in Oregon Inlet, Gavin?
They were deep. They were like this deep.
Yeah, and so we found out when we went onto the beach, we're like, wait a minute, there's some vehicles there I didn't think would have went over those particular ruts, and come to find out, there's two entry points, and the other one was just really smooth, no big deal. But the one we went up was like, man, who got what truck was stuck there?
It was either a Toyota Tundra or a Toyota Tundra or like that Nissan thing.
It was a Toyota. It was a full size Toyota.
Yeah, it was a Toyota
Tundra. That's right.
Yeah,
it was and yeah, but he zipped right. We were doing our air down. The guy zipped right by us and went over. So anyway, John Burnett, lucky you. When did you order your Bronco originally? So we did it was the first night. And I'll detail. It was the first night reservation for two.
No,
so
Dad, he's talking.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me. Sorry. It's a little late tonight. Anyway, we're a little sidetracked. Hey, but anyway, there's 10 of us here, so we're going to talk about it. Sorry about that, John and Dirk. You're like, I didn't know, sometimes it just goes. All right. So anyway, tonight I do want to mention that our friends over at All Terrain Nation, Dave and Kelly, they've had a rough week. Anyway, I don't even know what the words. I do want to mention one thing is I guess Dave's mother passed away today, and I would definitely like us all to give her and them a moment of silence. And I'm going to take my headphones off so I can remove my hat, give them a few minutes, and just think about them and keep their family in your prayers. All right, everyone. Yeah, it's sorry, I don't want to start off, but it's when you have good friends that have a loss of a loved one, your heart goes out to them. Really does. So, Dave and Kelly, if you're watching, we have your shirts on to prove it. We're thinking about you and your family. So, anyway, let's get on talking about some Bronco stuff. So, Gavin, what do you think about the Broncos in the sand on the beach? Now, when we say this and you watch some of our videos, you will see that there's two types of terrains in the sand, right? So there's the pack stuff that you drive down, and really cars can drive down that. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
The issue becomes when you leave that semi-wet packed sand and you get into that really loose stuff. I said fluffy in some videos in the beginning, but it's a really loose sand. And if you go up to Corolla, now I talked to someone the other day and they reminded me how you say it's not Corolla, it's Corolla. And I think who was it? Eddie? We met Eddie there at Oregon Inlet with a Outerbanks trim The hot chili pepper. Is that hot chili pepper? I think it is. Overlanding for fun. Hey, hey, what's going on, my friend? Um, yeah, Dr. Detroit said can't wait to do that. So, yeah, and if you're talking about the Outer Banks, man, you've got to,
What's up, Santa?
yeah, what's going on? What are you watching over there?
Hmm.
You had me confused a minute. I was like, did we have a guest over here? But yeah, the Outer Banks is very fun. But here, let's talk a couple things here. So we met Eddie in the Outer Banks at Oregon Inlet on, was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday, and it was cool. Awesome looking. The first time, was it the first? No, it was the second time we've seen that hot chili pepper red Bronco, and it is very, very rich looking, great looking trim, especially with the painted fender flares. And it was awesome. It was cool to see another Bronco out there because I'll tell you, I went Saturday. I took my Area 51, my 21. For those of you who didn't see the video, I got it dirty. I don't know if that video hit yet. Um, I actually got my 21 Badlands, sandy, dirty, whatever. I know. I've been waiting to take it anywhere to get it dirty. And trust me, sand's not a big deal. I get it, but I did take it off road and all the functions work. And I did learn something too. Now, I know I might seem like a rookie at this, and yes, I am to some level, but I talk to a lot of people, and when you go into sand mode, so if you're not familiar, we have a 2021 Badlands, 4-door Sasquatch, and we have a 22, the same trim. When you go into sand mode, um, the Bronco automatically locks the rear lockers, and it puts you in 4 high. And so you just cruise on through the sand. Now, when you leave the beach, there's signs everywhere that says no stopping for any reason. I mean, they're very clear about it. So I didn't want to stop in the sand. So I leave the sand and go up onto the pavement. And luckily for me, there was someone stopped in front of me the other day. So I had a reason to stop. So if you're a local saying, "Hey, he's saying he stopped," yeah, stop because the person in front of me was stopped. So what happened was before when we pull out of there, you have to manually disengage the four high and also the rear locker when you go back to normal mode. So this is you're in sand, you leave the sand, you get onto the pavement, you manually or you turn the goat mode to normal mode, but the rear locker's engaged as well as for high. Well, then what happens is I discovered because this person stopped in front of me. Well, all you have to do is stop completely, and then it'll give you on the instrument cluster that the shifting is in progress. It disengages the rear locker, it shifts back to too high, and then you're back on the way. So if you don't stop, it doesn't shift out of that mode. And that was interesting. And I mean, there's not one sign that says no stopping. There is on the left, on the right, warning. I mean, they just don't want you to stop. And I guess the reason for that is when you leave Highway 12, you're on asphalt. When you leave, you get into the sand. That sand, because it's not next to the water and people are in it, back and forth, it gets really loose. And so you can imagine if people stop just when they got onto the top side of the road, that it would cause when there's 4, 5, 6 vehicles leaving. If Johnny's watching right now, Johnny knows. Johnny went down with us one weekend. When you leave that sand area, you want to leave with 4-wheel drive activated, get on the hard surface road, and then it's nice to stop and disengage everything, right? Well, they don't want you to do it. But luckily for me, someone did it Saturday. I disengaged, and then I learned something. Okay, so we were thinking that you had to stop, you had to manually disconnect the rear or unlock the rear diff manually. Well, it does it automatically if you stop. So that was something that we learned, and I know that might sound rookie to someone, but like I said, if this is your first time in sand, and when you leave the road, it says absolutely no stopping, and there's everyone looking at you. You don't stop, you keep going. And then you're having to manually do this. So it was pretty interesting. I thought it was pretty interesting that the Bronco will shift back to normal in too high and all of that. So it was actually pretty cool. So and David Boyd joined in. Thank you for nice thoughts. Hey, love you guys too. Definitely Definitely think about you and your family tonight. Jonathan, what's going on? How are you doing? Jonathan, what do you have? You have your Bronco yet? What trim do you have? I don't think we've chatted yet, or maybe we have. Dr. Detroit said, looking forward to the Outer Banks. So let me give you a little hint. If you're looking for quiet and somewhere to barbecue and hang out and do some cool stuff, Oregon Inlet is where you want to go. Beach Access 4 has the highest dune you go over with the biggest ruts. At least it did Monday. Access, what was it, 3? The Bodie Island maintenance thing. I think it was access point 3 there or whatever it was, whichever number it was. That was very tame. But I have yet to take my Bronco somewhere that it actually struggles off road. So when I saw the ruts and I saw this Tundra stuck, I was like, cool. First of all, let's go pull them out. And second of all, let's, drive over it. But when you go there, if you're looking for quiet, maybe take if you have a dog you want to bring, you want to barbecue, you just want kind of chilled, laid back, Oregon Inlet's where you want to go. If you want to drive, have a nice long drive, a lot more people and a lot more people driving, then Corolla and Corova is where you want to go. So, and if when you make your way down here, let us know. We'd love to meet you down there. And hey, that's what we did with Johnny, and we had a blast. So it was pretty fun. So definitely, let's see. Hey, I All right, so Jonathan said, "I think you joined us in a prior live, and you might have. I have a very short memory. That's not on you. That's one of my faults. Let's see. You have a black diamond 4-door soft top manual transmission. Awesome. So you got the 2.3 happening and manual. So that's cool that you really get to feel the Bronco with the manual transmission. Obviously, Black Diamond's a nice trim as well. So I know that there's a lot of people that switch from Black Diamond over to it. If the I guess if the wait time was too much, if you want stay bar disconnect, things like that. A lot of people did switch from that. But then I know there's a lot of people that held out for it, and there's actually someone in our area that has a Black Diamond, and it is a very, very sharp looking vehicle. So awesome, good for you. Is there any camping along the beach? So John, so I'm not an expert down there, but at Oregon Inlet there are campsites near the beach, but not on the part of the beach where you drive. It's open, I think, somewhere maybe sunrise, but I know the sign said out. You got to be out by 9, so 9 o'clock was it. But right next to the beach, there is a campground down there. And cool fact, if anybody ever watches Wicked Tuna Outer Banks, there's a couple different places there. There's Wanchese where a lot of the boats are docked, but then also up there in at Oregon Inlet, some of the boats are docked there. It's kind of cool that if you ever watch that show and you like it, you can right across from the campsite, you can actually see some of those boats if they're not out fishing. So yes, there is camping near the beach, but not on the beach. And I think you have to be off by now. Now that's in Oregon Inlet down near Hatteras. Up north near, like you're headed from Duck, North Carolina up to the Virginia, North Carolina line. That's a good question. I'll find that out and I will let you know next week. I don't know if they run you out of there at 9 o'clock at night or if you can actually camp there. I know there's no fires. They have a sign saying no campfires, no fires at all. And there's dunes there, there's horses there is trees on the other side of the dune. So I totally get it. Let's see. I think since I live in South Florida, Jonathan, sorry. I think since I live in South Florida, Black Diamond is a better choice. Still have the base Sasquatch order 8 months. I'm waiting for this one. Yeah, I would agree. So South Florida, if that's your wheeling, you really don't need the stay bar disconnect. I think where obviously rock crawling, things like that. It's helpful. Or just very rough terrain and you want to add a little more articulation and not get jerked around so much, that disconnecting the stay bar is awesome as well. So Let's see. Gavin, you'll go through Terrence Mooney. Hello, what's going on? Sorry, I'm busy talking. We're going to go back through the comments here. So we have John Burnett in the house, Dirk Connor, Overlanding for Fun. What's going on, Tim? Bronco 78, Craig. What's happening? Dr. Detroit, always good to see you in here. Let's see. And David, if you're still watching, hello again. Christopher Taggart said chili pepper red was my choice, but the wife won over cyber orange pick. I hear you. Well, I will tell you, and there's a picture. If you're on Instagram, if you go to my Instagram, you'll see a picture in the last few days where the eruption green, we had our 22 there, and the chili pepper. Was it hot chili pepper or chili pepper? Look it up real quick. I don't even know. What are you looking at? Gavin's looking at videos over here. He's supposed to be chatting with us. But it was really cool against that white or whitish sand. It's kind of like tan sand color, I guess. It was just a very, very cool color combination. And like I said, Eddie, if you're watching, it was great meeting you. By the way, you and your wife, it was a great looking Bronco there. We had a blast and all of that good stuff. So, Da Vinci, evening. What's happening, John Burnett? Yeah, and John, thank you for saying that. Hit that like button if you don't mind. If you haven't, if you're checking us out right now, whether you're live or watching us in a replay, hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. We would forever be grateful. And Tim, yeah, Tim's pretty smart. He knows the deal. He says, happy wife, happy life. You got it, Tim. Iconic Bronco Raptor got pushed from 6.6 to 6.13 today. Hope no more pushbacks. I hear you. How early on, Iconic Bronco, did you get your I guess first build date from, or when did you get it, if you don't mind me asking? Because I checked with our dealer. I went to go see him yesterday, and no word yet. Crickets. Not happening. And I do want to talk about that. We have a couple different things we want to talk about. You want a headphone up so you can hear me?
I can.
Can you?
Yeah.
You can hear me because I'm talking right here, right?
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't talk too loud. Oh, by the way, you want to show everyone your hair tonight? Look at this.
So
you can't really see it.
You can't see color on camera.
You can see the red.
Yeah.
And it's blue over here.
Yeah, so there's red somewhere and then blue somewhere.
Here, watch this.
Right here.
See the blue? Check that out.
So I was at Great Clips.
You want to tell them what happened today with that?
Oh yeah, so I was at Great Clips, and then I got a haircut, as you can see, and then
I got a haircut today. I went and got gas, filled up my work truck.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
And then so after the haircut, they asked me, do you want some like fun spray? It's just like hair spray that has color in it. Then I said, or she said, are you gonna take a shower tonight? I said, yeah. And then she said, are you gonna, or do you want to have some like fun spray in your hair? And I'm like, sure, why not? And she's like, what colors? And then I'm like, blue and red. Do you have white? And then she's like, no, we don't have that.
Yeah.
And then so she asked my mom, are you okay with that? And then she said, yeah, okay.
All right, the whole conversation
washes out.
Yeah, so this is why I should take Gavin to get his haircut, because he comes back with all that happening. So anyway, but where were we? We were talking about what were we talking about? I have a wait a minute. Tim says Gavin has a Nintendo Switch haircut on. Yeah, he actually does actually.
Yeah. I don't have my PlayStation headset.
All right, Terrence Moody says still waiting on his build. Yeah, Terrence, I'm sorry. I know you've been. It's over. Well, I mean, I guess it was early on, but I know that we've connected here on live for over a year, and it's that wait. And we were upset. I mean, like everyone. We got our first Bronco, and I hate saying first, second, because it always implies there's a second. But we got our 21 in September. And, I did have to switch to a soft top to get it. Now, luckily, I didn't get rid of toe or the I don't think the crankcase heater is an issue at all. I mean, even where I live, I didn't need it, but for $100, I figured why not? But the tow I wanted.
Yeah. We definitely need it.
So we got the tow on that, but the 22 was, no modular bumper, no tow pack, and no crankcase heater. No big deal on that. But for what it's worth, that was on the order, and then when it got switched and pulled and all that whole story, we have a video on it that we wanted to wait until this year to get the second one, but it came in early, so whatever. But we're very thankful. So Terrence, I'm sorry you're having to still wait for that. I know how it is. Well, I don't know how it is for this long, but I know from January to September of last year, it was just, geez. And you're seeing people get them and enjoy them and things like that. If you have a YouTube channel too, it was even worse because you didn't have yours to talk about the film and to do that. So on top of wanting it or needing it, because some people needed another vehicle, they might have sold their vehicle anticipating, or you had a vehicle that was just tired and it needed to go. So, and one of the things that dealerships, Gavin, we've talked about this, dealerships can really right now, if they have the staff, the service technicians, and there's a difference, by the way, between mechanics and service technicians, but they have the service technicians there. They can make bank right now because of the vehicles that are the age of the average vehicle on the road. Do you know what the average age is, Gavin?
No.
What? No, the average. So it used to be something like, I think the number was 12 years, something like that. Now it's 16 or 15 and a half or 16. Doesn't sound that, but we're talking the average, right, of every vehicle on the road. And so what's happened is because there's a couple different tiers, right? Vehicles are being pushed long. You're having to drive them longer. You're having to maintain them. Of course, the longer you drive them, the older they are, the more miles, the more maintenance, the more repairs you have to do. But there's a segment of people that were buying, 5-year-old cars, 3 to 5-year-old cars. They're now pushed into the 10 plus because rental car companies that can't get new products are buying those 1 to 3, 1 to 5-year-old lower, not even low, but lower mileage vehicles. And so they're running the price up on those. And then that's taking the people that were in that group and putting them over. That's where I was a few years ago. Up until we started this YouTube channel, we were, as long as it's not a company vehicle, we would buy a vehicle with a year or two on it, right? Pre-owned, and let someone else take that initial hit. That's cool.
As long as it hasn't been in an accident or something.
Yeah, or something like that. Now, my F-250 was new out of what we have now. Forget all the other stuff that's come and gone, but my F-250 was new. The Explorer was used, and we got a great deal on that. Our Range Rover was ever so slightly used. And there was a $40,000 hit on that one between whoever bought it and us. So I'm okay with that. But now on the Broncos, a different story. You're, unless you're buying one like right now, generally speaking, they're not your typical pre-owned vehicles.
Yeah, most of them are pre-owned. Most of the ones.
Over to the comments on this video. Gavin's surfing YouTube right now while we're doing a live. Is that like Brave or what? Dude,
I am watching Tiny.
I want you to go through the comments and say hello to everyone. Okay. This is not a gaming live where they're watching a game. Oh. This is called a conversation, Mr. Gavin, and we're going to have one.
Wow, I don't know what that is. So,
you don't have one there.
Hello, Iconic Bronco. So, Jonathan, Terrence Mooney, you're always here. Overlanding Tim. Or Overlanding for fun, Tim. Gavin has his Nintendo Switch haircut on. Well, it's not the haircut; it's really the paint, but whatever. And Iconic Bronco Raptor got pushed back.
Look at this. Read this right here. That's pretty cool.
WT War Thunder. WT
Cass RC.
Okay. Cass RC said WT 3.0 mic. Lux scheduled for I guess what the
No, do you know what that is?
What?
Wild Track.
Oh.
3.0 suspension,
Mhm.
right? That's that hybrid between 2.0 and the 4.0 in the Raptor. So it's
And
the
I
3.
see top luck scheduled for build in 6/15.
So
I'm counting my months.
yeah, looking forward to driving it. So I'm definitely looking forward.
June 15th.
I'm definitely looking forward on feedback on that 3.0 suspension. I think that is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, and then
Because
Da Vinci.
now, hold on,
Burnett.
real quick. Let's take a hold your spot right there. I want to mention something. With the Wild Track, it was sort of that trim that didn't really. It was cool, right? But it was missing something to make it that. Well, now it's got it, and that's the suspension, which is the 3.0. So or available 3.0. Definitely free. Is that an option?
What?
Can someone tell me, is that an option or is it standard with the Wild Track? Or is it an option for the Wild Track, the 3.0 suspension?
I think it's standard.
I've been out of the loop on the Wild Track there. I think they're a very cool trim, but I've been concentrating on the Ranger, the Bronco Raptor, the Raptor F-150, especially the R, which by the way, did you hear the sound on Ford Authority? If you go to Ford Authority, I'm not screen sharing it tonight, but if you go to Ford Authority, they have a Bronco F-150 Raptor R audio, or they have a video of it driving by and you can hear it. It's at a stoplight. Man, that thing sounds good, doesn't it? So it should. It's the Shelby GT500 engine, which by the way, Bronco 78 said it's an option. Thank you for that. Cass RC, thanks for that option. And you would know you ordered one.
Okay. Version 2.0 is standard on the 2022 Ford Bronco Badlands Wild Track Everglades and Sasquatch equipped Broncos. Finally, the version 4.0 is standard on the 2022 Bronco Raptor. Well, it's technically a 2023, skipping 3.0 entirely. That's what Google Land says.
Google Land.
Yes,
Google Land. Yeah, Ford Bronco
YouTube
Wild
Land.
Track Haas 3.0 suspension details. Yeah, version 2.0 is standard.
It skips 3.0. I don't know why.
Hey, by the way, have you seen anyone with a build date for an Everglades? Anyone here? Someone here. Who is it?
Who has the Everglades?
Is it Christopher? Maybe.
I think it might be.
Who has the Everglades here on order? Have you heard anything, or maybe I've just missed it, or anyone else? I haven't heard of anyone getting a build date for an Everglades.
All right, Dirk Connor.
Dirk Connor, yes, that's right.
Dirk Connor says I got my
build, there you go.
My build week in Vin yesterday for my Everglades. Congrats on that. And then
that's right, Dirk. Yeah, sorry, Dirk. I can't. I'm trying to remember everything.
And then so Dirk, Dr. Detroit, thanks for coming. Christopher.
So what did you read that comment again about? So Dirk got his yesterday, right? Or
yeah, I got my build week and Vin yesterday for my Everglades.
Perfect. So I'm going to try to do a story on this, and I didn't want to be too vague about it because then I just might as well mention it on a live like I'm doing right now. But I hope to have some more information to actually do a video on this, Gavin, where it does seem that a lot of the constraints are freeing up. Now, it doesn't mean anything is back to normal. It's over. Don't get me wrong. But if you have one more of a component, you could call that technically freeing it up. I personally think, and I have no connection at Ford or anything or any other manufacturer, but I'm just watching this very kind of on social media, and you're seeing a lot more people. They've received their build date. They've received a built email, Gavin, like we got. And I'm seeing a lot of them. It would appear to me that there's being a freeing up, at least of Bronco components, because there seems to be a lot of Broncos being either build dates happening or Broncos being completed and shipped. So I would say that, and I mentioned this until the plant, closes for the switchover to 23. I think, and I can't speak for anyone there. I have no idea. I'm just a guy here on YouTube, but I think you're going to see a lot of Broncos pushed out. And man, for the sake of everybody hearing it, getting theirs, I hope that's the case because I want everyone to get this.
So what is up for high, for low? And Class RC said how is your MP miles per gallon been? So in the 22, I ride that about every day to go to school because that's my school ride. And
Your school ride?
Yeah, no.
And you even have a driver.
Ride.
Your mother.
My mummy.
Your mummy's your driver.
And then so I've seen from what I've seen, or from what I remember seeing, that in the last week is about, I think it's been about 22. 22.6, I think it was.
22, or is it 20.2?
It was 22.
I think the beach cut it down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's either, I know at one point we were averaging 21.2, and maybe it is 22. I haven't seen it at 22, but we've seen it at 20.2. And my Area 51, my 21 Bronco, pretty much same getup, except soft top. So why does that matter? Well, I mean, you would think the soft top is lighter, right, than MIC. You would think. That's a good video. Let's actually take these to a scale and weigh both of them.
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let me get back to this real quick, Gavin. I'll let you go. 21.5 in the 21 2.7 and 20.2 in the 22. Yeah. Or do I have that reverse? No, I have it reversed. Let me start over. It's 20.5 in the 21 and it's 21.2 in the 22. Gosh, there's too many numbers in that.
So Bronco 78 said, curious if they still have 21 my sitting on Dirt Mountain. I think you mean my 21 sitting on Dirt Mountain, not 21 my.
Gavin.
What?
Just read the. Sorry.
Now I'm sorry, but I do not know what you mean by that. And,
sorry. I'm sorry.
It's school.
Dude,
okay.
What is it? The blue and the red in your hair?
I have a strict grammar teacher. That's why.
Oh, is that your problem?
Yes.
Okay. So you're just getting like grilled every day at school. I'm glad I'm getting my money's worth. Hey, Nurse AJ, how are you doing? I'll have to rewatch this later. Crazy busy, another early start tomorrow. Well, Nurse AJ, thank you for tuning in, whether it's live or on replay. Either way, we love the fact that you're here. Thank you. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Nurse AJ and everyone else. Hey, Mobile checked in tonight. What's going on?
What is up?
All right. What are you pointing at? You pointing at the time?
Uh-huh.
You're not going anywhere.
But I'm tired.
You're almost out. You're tired? And are you seriously tired?
Yes.
Yeah, because you got to get the red and the blue out.
I take a shower because I'm taking one today, and I also have to get this blue out of my hair so I don't stain my white pillow. And it's like...
Well, you mean the blue and red, right?
Oh, yeah. I have to get this color out of my hair. And because it could stain... Even though right now, if you do this... It comes out, you can see a little bit on your hand. It's like a little powder, it just rubs off. But if it gets on the pillow, that's fabric. Now, clothes, it'd be just wash off. But my pillowcase has like custom art on it, and that's why I'm worried.
Oh, we can't mess up the pillowcase. All right, so are you ready to split?
Yep.
A couple more minutes.
Unplug
your mic. Couple more minutes.
Why?
Because I want to go through a couple of these comments here real quick. So, Bronco 78, to answer your question before Gavin kind of rudely
I am sorry.
Had a flashback from his grammar teacher.
I am sorry.
Curious if they have 21 sitting on Dirt Mountain. That is a good question. I have no idea. I wonder how we could find that out.
Okay, so
how do you think we could find that? Model year.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I really am, Gavin, dude.
My grammar teacher is very strict. And,
yeah. Mobile motto could also be the Ranger orders tapering off, anticipation for the next generation. That is true. If we're talking about the freeing up or Ranger builds tapering off, giving more time over to the Bronco, because the new Ranger, which by the way, we're going to do a video on that, because you got to say it like that.
Yeah, because.
The new Ranger is pretty cool. I'm actually doing a video on the new Ranger because Gavin. No, seriously, because I really think that it's going to be that sort of almost not a mirror. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a Bronco, but it's going to be real close. And I think the Wild Track version, obviously the Ranger Raptor is going to be cool. But let's go back through these comments and then we'll talk about that because I didn't want to jump ahead of myself. Let's see here. Where are we at, man? We just jumped. Christopher Taggett said I love my no tech O2 Silverado. I hear you. Some of the most reliable vehicles out there are the ones without all of the tech in there.
Yeah, because even if it like breaks or something, or if you get into an accident, it's you don't have to pay for all that more stuff to get fixed.
Gotcha. Mobile Motto said VIN and email received May 30th at 5:44 p.m. Well, congratulations. Good for you. That is awesome. And you'll get to see what we get to rant and rave about. We do have a cool video coming up. And most of the time you don't you don't like spill the beans on what you're doing because someone else will do one, but I don't think you can duplicate this. It's what if you back out of your Bronco order? So, there's a lot of people that said, I'm tired of waiting. I'm done. You back out. So
give it to someone who doesn't have a Bronco.
Right. But here's my thing. So in the real estate business, we have people that can't get wash machines. We have people that can't get refrigerators. Now, not as bad as it once was, but still certain models, it's limited. There was somebody that I talked to yesterday. They redid their kitchen, Gavin, right? And they were missing two major components. They got this really cool kitchen table and chairs they ordered. They got the table a year ago. The chairs are being delivered this weekend. Chairs. It's everywhere. I've ordered a new computer for all this broadcasting stuff that we're doing. I am waiting and waiting and waiting, and it'll be here soon. But I guess what I'm saying.
Did you order?
You have to ask your mother on that one, but it's been a while. It's been a while. Your mom. But here's the problem. We don't even have a definitive delivery date. That's the issue. So it's like, okay, some money spent. When are we going to get it? We don't know. So this is not a Ford issue. This is a manufacturing issue. And so here's what I can say. Going to the Outerbanks, which is our closest way to go wheeling, closest, right? We have Shenandoah Valley, a little bit of mud and a little bit of rock.
No, there's that place in Virginia Beach, like that off-roading part.
For full-size vehicles?
Or something like the off-roading park.
Well, let me finish this thought and then we'll talk about that. So my thing is that when you go out there, first of all, it's really cool that you hear the word, if you have the windows down. How many times did we hear the word Bronco from people sitting in their vehicles or behind their vehicles on the beach Sunday?
At least
Monday.
Time.
Was it Sunday or Monday? It was Monday. I messed up with the holiday. I think it was Monday.
At 4 high, 4 low. Good job, Gavin, catching the words out of order. You must have an excellent English teacher. She teaches it, but she is strict. I'll just say that.
Yeah, just say that.
You have to do things right.
Yeah.
You cannot do stuff wrong.
So that's good. We're getting our money's worth, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
I'm learning.
But anyway, so when you drive on the beach, you drive around town, not that I need the attention or anything at all, but it is cool when somebody says, hey, I love your Bronco. It's sweet. I love the color or whatever. And you go on the beach and everyone's looking at you. They want to see you get stuck because they just did. And then what happens is you don't. And you go over the ruts. And even if you're not really good at wheeling, which I'm learning, what was the big takeaway we had? A short break from this. What's the big takeaway that we had the other day when I was talking about, and I don't know there's probably an off-roading term, but I called it plowing. So when we were headed up the rut, up the dune in the ruts, and you could hear it dragging the skid plates. You could hear it hit the bash in the front and then the skid plates all the way underneath you. When we got down to the other side and I was starting to turn, the sand was so loose it wanted to go straight under throttle. One thing I've learned in the Bronco is that when you let up on the gas, and this might be true, I did say this in a video that we're getting ready to release. It might be true in any vehicle.
The beans again.
Spill the beans again. It really grabs and it turns you, and then you can ease back into the throttle and get going a little bit. So it was actually a pretty cool experience. But everyone's looking. They want to see you get stuck. They want to see that new Bronco get stuck. Well, guess what? Not even near. Well, don't say that, because you're going to hit some terrain one of these days that's just nuts.
Well, yeah. Well,
but there's nothing there's nothing in the Outer Banks, in my humble opinion, that we found at least yet. Yeah. That is an issue. Now, we're not talking about the packed wet sand that cars can drive in. We're talking about, with the loose stuff. Because I went over and I was like, well, how did that vehicle go? Because the ground clearance was like that high. Well, they went into the other entrance because there were no rocks.
Because
you know what? Because you need to stop with my because.
Okay, I will. Sorry. And there was an F-250 that the bumper was touching the sand, like really, really low. I'm like, how? And I didn't know that there was another entrance, so I was like, how did it make it up? When the Toyota Tundra that has no bumper that's touching the sand, it has like this much ground clearance on the front.
Well, he was rutted up.
Yeah, he was stuck. I'm like, how did you not, like, barely even going in the sand?
Oh,
just not go boop.
How did you like and I know we don't have the latest and the greatest, but we have a Smitty built portable air compressor. How'd you like that?
Good, but took really long. It's definitely not as fast as the ARB setup.
How do you know? You have an ARB in the other one I don't know about?
Yeah.
No.
Mom and I installed it the other day.
So we have a Smitty built portable air compressor, and less than 5 minutes each tire. It's just a quick, jumper cables onto the battery, the clamps onto the battery, and you walk around with it. I'm impressed. We didn't pay a lot of money for it, and I will be buying another one for the other Bronco. We'll do something different with the Raptor, I'm sure, but
the Raptor is gonna have a faster one, because and the tires are bigger on the Raptor, and so that's probably gonna take around 7 to 10 minutes for the Raptor to get filled up.
Well, maybe, but I'm telling you, the Smitty built portable air compressor we had, I was super impressed with it. Very happy with it. Best money I've spent on something like that. So, I have an ARB twin compressor sitting in my closet waiting. I hear you, John. Good deal for getting it, and soon enough, right?
So Nick, we bought the whole kit that had like the compressor, the air down stuff, like everything you need. We bought it from 4 Wheel Parts. That's where we got it.
Yeah, we got it from 4 Wheel Parts, which we have
$270.
No, it's less than that. 170.
Oh, yes, 170.
And it's a cool little kit. It's got everything you need, and even all the attachments for his beach stuff or whatever he wants to take. But I was super, super impressed with it. Very happy. Used it for the first time, because here's the thing: if you go to the Outer Banks, 5 more minutes. If you go to the Outer Banks and you go up to Corolla, that's it, Corolla or Corova, which is northern Outer Banks, north of Duck. You have an air down station and an air up station, same place, right? You stop, you air down, you head out, you come back, you air up. But in Oregon Inlet, you don't have that. So you air down, and then you have to have your own means of filling your tires back up. It is mandatory that in Corova, you're at 20 PSI. In Oregon Inlet, they actually said less than 20. Yeah. So I'm assuming 20 or less. I'm just worried when I go too much below that. I don't want to end up with
like
popping a bead or
popping or
rolling a bead, I think is the term. Yeah. Hey, let's go with some of these comments here before you split.
Because I want to eat my chicken and then go take a shower and go to bed. and my green bean.
Now that everyone knows your schedule for the evening, and you're getting ready to get out of school, you get to stay up late with me on Wednesdays from now on.
Yeah.
Not going to be cool?
Yeah, because I'm not as tired of...
Hey, what do you have? Don't move. You had some. You had some of your blue stuff going on there. Oh, is that what it is? Mosquito. Oh my goodness. We got mosquitoes here in southeastern Virginia, and they're like birds. All right, let's go back here. Congrats, saw that hitting the tracker like a Mobile's talking about hitting the tracker there, just waiting for that Bronco to be shipped. And I know it's getting real right now. When you get the build email, when you get your build email, and then the one where it's built, it is real. Gavin and I went through all that. Let's see. Seeing this window sticker makes it, or Nurse AJ said, seeing the sticker makes it so much more exciting. It does. Bronco 78 said less parts to go bad. Adventure. Hello, what is going on? Yeah, and Christopher Tackett even said when he got his window sticker, it got real. I remember, I'll never forget where I was when I got my first build date. Just super excited. Couldn't believe it. So, and it was another thing too, that I had watched the Bronco Nation video. I think it was the last June or July with Estevan, and he basically said, at this point, if you have an MIC on order and you don't have a build date, then you might want to switch over to a soft top to make sure you get your Bronco soon. And that's what I did. A week later, I had a build date. So I was grateful for that. You want to say goodbye to everyone before you head out?
Yep.
Say goodbye to everyone before you head out.
Good night, everybody. And we're definitely doing, and since it's getting warm, we need to do a doors off video.
We do. And we're going to do it on the 22 first.
Yeah. And then
how about picking you up from the last day of school with the doors off?
And top all the way off. Then that'll do it. I'd rather do it in blue.
Deal.
But,
Deal.
All right. So good night, everybody. We'll be posting another video maybe tomorrow. That one that you did.
So tomorrow is what, Thursday?
Uh-huh.
Yep. Tomorrow or Friday. I don't really know. Right. It's not finished yet, and I don't know if I'm going to get it done. Let's just say by the weekend.
Yeah. Well, soon there will be another video posted, and so stay tuned for that. And good night.
Good night. See you, man. Appreciate it. All right. Hey, Nick, what's going on? Sorry, I just saw your comment there. I hope all is well. Hey, Nick, by the way, we are working on a review of sort of a resto mod early Bronco. I think you might like that video. If everything pans out, we're going to do a nice detailed walk around, and hopefully that'll be something that we, get to do relatively soon. Now, we are scheduled to be at the Ford Nationals in Carlisle, Pennsylvania this weekend. The funny thing is, you would think that I have all this planning, but it gets planned by someone else and then we go. So unless something's changed, tomorrow I'll get my itinerary and we'll be there Saturday. Now, we're not going to be in the show field. There is some 6th-gen Bronco thing up there happening. I don't know if we got into that or if it was too late, but either way, if you're going to be in Carlisle, Pennsylvania on Saturday at the Ford Nationals, Gavin and I'll be there. Look us up, say hello, connect with us on Instagram. If you're there, you want to, meet up somewhere, just hit us up on Instagram, Bronco Wild Outdoors, and that would be cool. So we're definitely going to be there, and it's pretty cool to be in Pennsylvania for the weekend. And everyone that said good night to Gavin, thank you so much for that. He does go back and look at these, on the next day, and he appreciates it. And a lot of you are just great comments for him, and it builds his self-esteem. And I'll say this is that he's growing up with this YouTube thing, and it's in the beginning it was scary for a parent to say, okay, let's do this, but he's really enjoying it and he really appreciates the comments. So I got to say thank you for all being a part of this cool experience. Oh, let's see here. What do we got? Johnny's car care review. What's going on, Johnny? Daytona Beach. I did 38 or so and was no worries. So Johnny, I have where we went up in Corova, actually way north, went to Virginia line. There was a Jeep that literally burned down to the chassis and the rims. One tire still had air in it, and it was 55 psi. So apparently and this is just what I'm hearing. This is video. I seen video and pictures of this Jeep that the person didn't air down, and on top of that, they were doing some wild stuff, and I guess it heated the tranny up and got a little well done. In the Outer Banks, it's mandatory. Like it's the rules of going on the beach is that you're at 20 psi unless you're a 3/4 ton, and then I want to say it's 30 or 35 or something like that. You have to go to their website. So if you're going to go to the Outer Banks, you want to do some wheeling, just highly recommend you go check everything online first to make sure that you have the permits needed. You know what to expect, because you do have to have permits to drive on the beach now. Certain times of the year, at certain beaches you don't, but pretty much everywhere now, if you're going to drive out there and stop, you have to have a permit. And if you do go to Oregon Inlet, you got to have a permit, period, whatever you're doing. And it's not a bad deal. I mean, it's all part of the upkeep. That money goes toward, keeping the place nice and neat, and it's pretty cool. Let's see. Yeah, John watched that blue. Yeah, like I came home tonight and I was like, dude, he said, whatever, do your thing. Let's see. Yeah, and Nick, I think you're gonna like it. This Bronco, I've said enough, but I'm not gonna say any, but I think you'll probably dig this one some. Really trying to get this thing narrowed down. And yeah, so I think you'll like it. Terrence Mooney said, do they still send pictures when it's being built? As far as I know, I haven't gotten word that stopped. I mean, I've heard some people didn't get theirs, or I guess that's possible. I mean, consider how many Broncos are built. But I know I was humbled by the fact when we got our picture. We got both of them, and I'll never forget. I mean, the realness of it at that point was just crazy. Like, there it is sitting at the plant. It gets built there, but it's different when you see it there in the picture. So in our new little studio that we're building that way, with our new computer, by the way, where I'll be able to do some really cool screen sharing stuff. We have some of that art that is going to be incorporated into that, and that's going to be very cool to be able to see the lineage of at least the 21. Terrence Mooney, you two are great. I don't know if that was about Gavin and I, but if it was, thank you so much. If it wasn't, I'm sure whoever was about is good, but thank you very much. I do appreciate that. But yeah, Johnny, if, like I said, the next time you head down there, depending on what time of the year it is, but if it's safe to say between May and August, there's some other cool stuff to do as far as the beach driving, and yeah, permits, definitely we have to have that this time of the year, but I think you'll like it. Christopher Tackett, my Bronco was built 1/14/22, received it 1/4/28, no pictures on assembly line. I was sad. Yeah, well, that's a bummer. Sorry about that. I did hear that some people were being missed on that. And I know, to me, it was a cool deal. Like I said, I was humbled when I saw it. I was like, geez, I know that's one thing that they didn't have to do. But if you want to get someone's like attention and you want to hit them in the emotional aspect of it, right? You've reserved it, you've ordered it, you've waited. You reserved it, you waited to order it, then you ordered it, then you waited. You got the emails, you got the hammock, you got the coffee cup, you got the calendar, you got all the cool stuff. Then you get the picture, and then you get the Bronco. I mean, it really is a cool experience. I don't know of another manufacturer that does quite the same thing. I know when you do some luxury stuff, you get things a little bit different stuff. There's a story about a guy that ordered a Rolls Royce, and for the dash, some of the wood in the dash, he sent. I need to look the story up before I say too much about it, because I don't want to give a false story. But basically, he sent some wood to him that came from a very special project, and it was implemented into the car. So when he got it, it had it there. I'm going to look that story up, and we'll talk about that next week. And it's not, let's see, Rolls Wild Outdoors. But seriously, it's a cool story in how some manufacturers implement some of this cool stuff in there. And Ford's really done a good job, in my humble opinion, with this. Now, every manufacturer, you know, when you hear the stories, well, I'm canceling my order because I can't get my Bronco. I understand the frustration. I get it, and I am sorry. Like, I'm not making light of it. But I read that comment, and then an hour later, I get a call from a supply house that says, the six toilets that were ordered for a house, or the certain vanities that were ordered, we don't know where they are. One out of five came in, or one out of six came in. The other ones may be here in a month or two. And this is a house scheduled to be finished, and or apartment building, or whatever you're doing. So I try to quantify it, right? Here's a vehicle that I want. I want to go enjoy it. I want to have fun with it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I get it. But then over here is, I'm trying to make a living, and I'm just trying to get a toilet, for Pete's sakes. I don't mean standard. I mean some of the special stuff, or a vanity, or a special tub, right? Floor mounted soaker jet tub. Bro, man, now you're asking for it, right? And you start doing something like that. So in the real estate space, it's no different. And imagine in certain areas, if you're on a waiting list to rent an apartment, because apartments are in short supply. So anyway, we go all there. So let's see. I've been here from day one on your channel. Terrence Mooney, thank you very much. I really appreciate you checking us out, and everyone that's checked us out and watched our channel. Gavin and I are humbled, and Becky as well. Becky's trying to do some more stuff with us. We're humbled that each and every week, used to be on Sunday. Now, luckily, everyone has been gracious enough to accept us moving to Wednesday night, which has helped us dramatically. But I really appreciate you being here and watching the content, and we hope to grow the channel, which, speaking of which, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe if you're watching and you haven't subscribed. When you subscribe to our channel, I don't take it lightly. I feel like that we've invested a lot in new video equipment, and with Dave's help, we're going to really, and Tim as well, we're going to work on the editing to make our videos pop a little bit more and all that stuff. And I'm committed to bringing better content, but not just better content, but so it sounds better, looks better, right? You can get to experience a lot of it. And some of the cool stuff that we have on the way, if we ever get it, it's going to be cool. And this metal table that I'm at, that you can hear right now, we're actually moving over here, and you won't hear the clanking anymore. So I definitely appreciate it. Let's go back to the comments here. John Sorensen, generally speaking, beach and sand is softer, deeper, further north you go. Airing down was practiced in the 1950s on Cape Cod because these people took normal tired work truck on. Yeah. So John, very good. There's certain places in our area, like the Outerbanks, for example, it's mandatory. So it's not even an option out there. I will say this, one of the videos that we're doing in depth on is transmission and oil temperature. So if you remember, I did a turbo etiquette video, and I got grilled a couple of times in the comments, which, YouTube, it happens. That's cool. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. But I was grilled with one thing in particular, and that was the fact that, well, these engines technically don't need a cool down period. Well, technically that's correct, except if you're out in that sand, and you could be in other terrain as well, and you're letting it rip, and you're building RPMs, and that thing is under stress, you're in that loose sand. What happens? We did a video. Like I said, you'll see it published here really soon, to where there's a timeline. When I traveled Saturday by myself, an hour and 50 minutes on the road, the transmission and oil temperature was 1. In other words, so the oil was like 185 and transmission was 193, or vice versa. You'll see it in the video. And then I think I stopped after 3 miles of driving on the beach. And this was in semi-loose sand, not even just really loose stuff. This was kind of that wet, starting to loosen up stuff. at 3 miles, I stopped, and you can see what the transmission and oil temperature is. And then we went full on to the rest of the beach, which gets really loose. And that's where it's kind of funny, with the further you go up the beach, the more legitimate off-road vehicles you see. And there's a reason for that. The beach gets narrow now since the recent nor'easter, but some of that sand down there is real. There's a section in there that is just loose stuff, and I have no idea why. But you could see the transmission temperature and the oil temperature shoot up. So whenever I got to where I was going and I stopped, I let it idle, and it will not come down to the point to where when you were driving, because remember, when you're driving, you're moving air across the radiator, across the intercooler. Everything is getting air that needs to get air. But it would go from, I think the oil temperature is in the high 220s, and it would go all the way down, I think, to 217-ish, something like that. 10 degrees is 10 degrees, right? But it's there, and now there again, if I was driving on a hard surface road, it would continue to drop back where it was. But because you're at idle, you're limited on how much air is going across the cooling system. The Vice Grip Garage, by the way, if you've ever watched that on YouTube, great channel. Derek will make you laugh like it's just Comedy Central almost. He calls it ice cube juice, but anyway, antifreeze. So that whole cooling system there, you're limited, right, on how much air you're getting across there. So, but I let it idle and just let things drop a little bit. I didn't want to turn the engine off with the engine, and I know it's synthetic blend. You have a high boil over or coking temperature, but I just like it to come down a little bit. So that video is talking about it, engine oil temperature as well as transmission temperature. I think you're going to find it be pretty cool. But how's it affected driving on the road for an hour and 50 minutes? At what degree temperature outside? And then driving down the beach for 3 miles, and you get to see a dramatic difference. So watch out for that video. All right, let's see. Oh, John said, had you decided on your Mustang? So unfortunately, yes, and unfortunately, and I'm regretting we keep it nice here. I'm regretting the heck out of it, but I did sell it on Monday, and if I could do it all over again right now, I wouldn't do it. And so I've actually, I'll own the car again one day. That's all. Let's see. I look forward to seeing more adventures, getting out and seeing new sites. Bronco 78, yeah, getting out and enjoying these. And your Bronco, by the way, I can't wait to see it progress. It's already nice, and I can't wait to see the ads that you do to it. That's the best part of this, is that even if it's a 6th gen and you see the modifications, or if it's an early Bronco or a late model or a Gen 2, you really get to see the things that change with technology, and I love seeing that. So definitely keep us informed there. Terrace Mooney said, I build custom kitchens for a living. So I'm sure if it's custom, all about commodity constraints and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm sure you and I could have some nice conversations about some of this stuff. And I mentioned to someone about a refrigerator that was back ordered for 8 months. Well, I can go to Lowe's and you can get a standard one now. Remember, a couple years ago, you couldn't even get like a freezer, right? A dedicated freezer. Now they're there, but we're talking custom stuff, right? Not the everyday's old appliance. That's still some waiting on that one as well. Oh, let's see. John Sorensen said my 32 OBX tires need some airing down. I'm not sure the Squatch Shot needs as much. So, John, they really don't care what kind of vehicle you have there. They say that if it's a half to a quarter ton, half ton vehicle, or you've got to go down to 20 psi. Now, the one thing that, if I ever get to go to a beach that it's not mandatory, because I'm going to follow the rules, I'm not breaking the rules at all. I don't need all that. But if I get to go somewhere where it's not mandatory, I would like to do a test. If I don't have to air down, let's try it at, the Sasquatch runs at 39 psi. Why not 40? I have no idea, but you can feel it. If you're at 41, you can feel it drives different than 36, right? So 39 is the number on the Sasquatch. So if you're at 39 all the way around, you're good to go. I'd like to test it that way. Maybe 2 miles or 3 miles of that, and then air down to 20, let everything cool down, and then do that and kind of be able to gauge it, right? Instead of, because we all have our opinions and all that, but if you would be able to control it, it's 85 degrees outside. I drove down the exact same area with 39 psi versus 20. Then you could actually see the telemetry on the Bronco and what's the oil temperature and transmission temperature. I think that would be interesting. Um, I will say this: we did knock the average MPG down slightly from beach driving, which is expected. I mean, it didn't go down as much as I thought it would go down, but either way. Um, but I hear you. Whether it needs it or not is one thing, but it's where we go. You kind of have to do it. Let's see. For high, for low, the vehicle engine doesn't work as hard when you're driving in sand as with your tires aired down. Got it. So yeah, and that's the theory is that you're not spinning as much, right? Your tires are grabbing more. They're not your central pressure point is not so narrow. It kind of spreads, so like snowshoes type thing. So less rotation, less heat, friction, and so that's the theory. I see. Riff white oak is hard to get most. That's on the west coast. Yeah, Terrence is. Yeah, there and it depends on what part of the country you're in, with transportation being a huge issue, and now fuel price, which by the way is we don't talk politics on this channel at all. But I will say, in my humble opinion, you can't push me into EV fat. I'm not going there yet because what we use our vehicles for, it's not readily available, right? It's not working for us right now. So anyway, but every time I go through the gas pump, I know what they want me to do, and I still like my ICE engine. Let's see. Nick said I'll be going to Florence, Oregon, and drive on the sand. I know some people up in Oregon. I don't know where they go. I need to find out this week and mention it to you. And who knows, you might even know the same folks out there. And I'll ask if I can mention them on here. I don't want to just name drop without asking them. Let's see. Mobile motto: I could go do without the burnout competitions. Yeah, he does have the. Was it the Chevelle that he calls it the Patriot vehicle or something like that? Yeah, I know that one. He's got a Pro Charger on it. Well, whether it's on it now or not, I don't know. But yeah, he does some burnout competitions for that. Speaking of burnout competitions, mobile, they're having one at the Ford Nationals this weekend. It's a rolling burnout competition. So I guess there's a difference, right? Stationary rollout. I don't know. I don't do that. But they're going to have one of those this weekend. And who knows? Maybe we'll film fun for the channel. I wonder if there'll be a Bronco doing a burnout. You think? Maybe next year. If there's not one this year, maybe I know a guy that would do it. Oh, let's see. You can buy my Mustang, Terrence. No, the point of selling the car was to free up space. I think the idea is we had too much space, but I didn't know how much I would regret it. But this book here, Driven, if you ever get a chance, I think Amazon's sold out right now. I don't know what's up with that. We'll have to check out, but you can go to drivenwildgear.com. This book, Driven, this car right here, I saw this car when I was 13. I got it when I was 17. My girlfriend at the time, blame it on her, she convinced me to sell it and get a truck. That's the truck that I often talk about, towing the Pinto through the woods and all that crazy stuff. So I sold that car to get that. I regretted it. Before the taillights were out of sight, I was just sick. Man, I made a mistake. It took me 10 years to get that car back. When I got it back, it was in pieces. And that's where I started working for myself. The car was sitting in the backyard under a tarp. I was like, how sad is this? You spent 10 years, you scrambled some money together. You were lucky enough to find it before it went to the scrapyard, like days away from being, you know, a lunchbox. And you get it back, and now you can't fix it because you don't have any money. And so this Mustang right here is why I do what I do. Now, I'm sure it's more in this car, but the car is the physical thing, right? It's hard for me to quantify, hey, I just had this idea, but so I get it, but I didn't think this car was the same. My dad and I spent tons of time on this car. It was a long story. Read the book, buy the book, and figure it out. But I can't tell the whole story because I do want someone to buy the book. But I sold that car and just I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Oh, let's see here. What's going on? They couldn't build enough batteries yet to satisfy the car sales demand. And Mobile's talking about the gas, what I was talking about, gas and switching to EV, saying they couldn't build enough batteries yet to satisfy the sales demand. Has got high gas prices is punishing us for, yeah, it doesn't have to be this way, but it is this way. And there again, I don't like getting into politics. I don't care who your flavor of the 4 years is. It just today I got 30 gallons of gas, 87 octane, $130. That's sad. Let's see. I'm going in 60. Hey, what's up, Dwayne? I have good news. I got an email that modules are in my Bronco and it's been shipped. Also, I'm gone in 60. That is great news. So after being on chip hold since January 14th, it's on the way. There you go. So that kind of says what I was talking about earlier. I'm gone in 60 says the chips are in the module's installed, the Bronco's on the way. I wish I had someone to talk to at Ford to confirm it, but it's just me really paying attention to the conversations on all of the social media sites that are following the Bronco stuff. There are a lot of Broncos being delivered, build dates happening, and the builds being completed. So I have no idea. I can't quantify it. I would love to be able to give you a number. That's kind of what we do is say, here's some news for you. It's a feeling, but just like I know we're in a recession already, have been since February, I know that in August, you'll probably get a story where it says there was a mass amount of product or commodities or chips or Broncos being shipped. The story will be somewhere around May, the end of May or June is when you're going to, in August or September, see that there was a lot of Broncos being built. Other vehicles as well, by the way. And what do you think about MAP? MAP has their shutdown for the summer and also a little bit of modifying for the new Ranger. Now, the Ranger is something that, Bronco Wild Outdoors, right? It's like you think just Bronco, but it is outdoors as well. And part of the outdoors is other types of vehicles, right? We want to go wheeling in a Ranger or some other vehicles. But think about this, the Ranger, a few fun facts, couple little small little things, no big deal. If you 2 inches wider, right? 2 inches longer. Which the 2 inches wider is interesting because I know they're partnering with Volkswagen on some stuff, and there was some stories out there where they wanted it. Volkswagen wanted a little bit wider for their ideas that they have or their plans. I also know that there's stories out there about this chassis is being built for the future. Maybe what does that mean? EV, battery storage, motors, things like that. We also know that the Ranger Raptor is going to have the 3.0. So they're again a little bit wider engine than what say the Ranger now has. So the 2 inches wider, 2 inches longer. But from what I understand, I'm going to do a video on this, is that I think the wheelbase is even longer, right? So not just the overall length, but the wheels being moved out a little bit. And that's going to, I know, add for a much better ride. The Ranger is getting ready to ratchet up the midsize truck market. And whether you're talking about a Ranger Raptor or the Wild Track or any of the other trims, they're getting ready to pick it up a little bit. And so I can't wait. The market next year The Bronco is still going to be one of the hottest off-road vehicles on the market, still the most talked about in my humble opinion. But that mid-size truck war thing going on, and I'm not saying it's going to be a truck war, but I mean that competition between the brands is going to get real next year. I think it's going to be you're going to start to see some of these. Interesting fact: the third brake light on the back of the new Ranger is in the handle for the tailgate. Now, why is that? So apparently that's for accessories and things that will be, whether it's some type of, if it's an overlanding type camper shell or, soft top for the back of the Ranger, if it's some type of roll bar, light bar, things like that, that would ultimately hide the third brake light in the top of the cab. Now it's in the tailgate. And I think the Gladiator's there, I believe. Either way, is some cool facts that they're looking at the accessories and adding in the stuff that is required for DOT regulations to be able to do those accessories. So I think it's actually pretty cool. Oh, let's see. I'm Gone in 60 said they even sent me a picture of my Bronco on the assembly line. That is awesome. And over on your social media sites, if you've posted that, I'll check it out later. Yeah, mobile. That comment here, I hear you. Let's see. Dwayne, you missed a great time at Bronco Fest. Manny, what's going on? Bronco Fest, a bunch of Broncos out there. So, Manny, my daughter graduated last Friday. And because I know it was Friday, Saturday type thing. Between that and then something we had to do early Saturday morning, I just couldn't make it, and I wanted to make it. But next year, no one's graduating. So if they have it next year, I will be there next year and for both days. I was able to late day Saturday head down to the Outerbanks in my 21 Bronco that no one thought that I would ever get dirty. Video to prove it. I got dirt on it or sand on it. But I went down, did some wheeling there, it went back to some of the neighborhoods, had some fun there, got some good video, did a lot of testing with the engine temperature, transmission temperature, and also something I'm doing, exact same tests between the 21 and the 22 to see if there's any differences. That's what we do here on YouTube. But I appreciate you telling me about that. Yeah, I do wish I could have made that. That would have been actually awesome. And then we had something else on Sunday, and then, I can announce this now. My daughter made the All-Stars softball team. So they're doing their tournament thing this summer now. So we have that, right? So pretty cool. Oh, let's see here. Mobile said Ford needs to launch the Ranger with a hybrid option like they did with the Maverick and share it with the Bronco. So here's my theory on that. Part of what we're digging into this week is I'll have some really good stuff, I think, in this video. Maybe. I mean, that'll be up for you to decide whether it's any good or not. But I believe that there's going to be the big push initially to get the Ranger out, to get everything going, to get this harmonious build thing and map between the new Ranger and the Bronco and getting the production up. I think you'll see that electrified version next year. I think it'll be and I say next year, I know they're building 23s, right? That's what later the summer is. But I mean, next calendar year, I think is when you'll see a lot of that, the electrification of it, and even just the normal hybrids, right? What we've had for years. But I think you're going to see the hybrid, you're going to see the straight electric, you're going to see different options out there. I don't see why you wouldn't see it coming at least soon. So, Manny, thanks for saying that. Yeah, Haley is she's having a blast already before college. Let's see, Matt, what's your thoughts on the auto start stop impacts on the turbo longevity? So supposedly, and I'm not a Ford tech, so I can't tell you this for certain, but I did read some papers on this that if the engine or the oil temperature is high enough, the auto start, it will not cut it off. It'll keep running. But if it's within that normal parameter, it will cycle off and cycle on. So I do think there's some safeties built in there that if the temperature, now there again, That's my opinion. I don't have it in fact. So I would love to find that out. There are certain things that really some really good Ford techs could answer that I just can't get knowledge of. But I don't, the EcoBoost engineers are smarter than that. And I mean, look at the horsepower between the 2.3, 2.7, and now 3.0. Of course, the 3.5 for the Ranger, for the F-150, I'm sorry, F-150 Raptor, and the 3.5 is what's used in the Ford GT. Those guys know how to make some horsepower, guys and gals. They know how to make horsepower, and they know how to do it, with reliability in mind. I don't think that that would be an issue, but I do remember reading somewhere that it's not going to cut it off when it's been baking. That's an excellent question, by the way. MPUZO said 21 Broncos. Do those even exist? Well, I know one does, and it's sitting right down there, and it got dirty. Imagine that. It gets 23 miles per gallon on the highway with the 2.7. What do you think a hybrid would get? That's a good question. I have no idea. I have no idea because, it is the flying brick, right? The windshield straight up. I mean, we have the look that we want, but you're not buying it because it's the most aerodynamic vehicle out there, right? But it is one of the coolest looking vehicles out there. I don't know what it would get. That's a good question. I have no idea. Making horsepower direct injection is easy. Yeah, it is. But it comes at a cost, right? A potential cost. And with dual injection, not only is it easy, but it's more reliable. And that's what we have with the 2.7. The 2.3 is direct injection only. I think that's a good question. I have no idea. I just know that it would be an increase, right? But at what number, I just have no idea. I have good night. Let's see. Jessica Dunn said, "Good night, Gavin. Coming in hot from Cosmo, Mexico today." Well, good deal, Jessica. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, Gavin has left the building, not literally, but the room. 3 different turbo V6s from Ford is an embarrassment of the riches. I hear you. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure we get all the. I don't want to miss anybody's comment. If I missed it, I am so sorry. Bronco 78 said definitely a lot more competition in the truck market. Yeah, Bronco 78. I think it's the off-road market. Whether you take it off-road or not is one thing, but that mid-size, even full size now with the F-150 Lightning kind of ramping that up. But the off-road in general, outdoors has something that has really gained. I mean, it's been there for years, but I think since 2020, we all know why people want to go outdoors more and get out of other places. The idea that whether you go or not, but you imagine yourself, that's the point of advertisement. These they have these different terms for it. One of them, sleeper and other things, but basically manufacturers or companies, they just help you imagine what you would like to do. And the Bronco, you can imagine going camping, going fishing, going on the beach, going, wherever. Whether you do it or not, it's another thing. But my YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, because you're watching this with us, is keeping me accountable to that. So yes, Gavin and I are going camping. Yes, we're going wheeling. Yes, we're going places. Now, if you have a lot of stuff going on, then you might not be able to make that trip. You might have to cancel it. Like Bronco Fest, I wanted to go, but family can't. Family comes first ultimately. But there is next year, and next year we might be driving something else with us. But Ford Nationals in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, I will be there this Saturday. I'll be there for one day. Gavin and I are going to be there. We're going to have some fun, take plenty of video and leave and all that. But I got off on a rant, and the rant was that, getting out and doing stuff with these new off-road vehicles is part of satisfying. That's what the manufacturers want. Either they want you to do it or want you to imagine you could do it. Either way, it's fun stuff. So that is Let's see, Matt, what is going on? What's your thoughts on? Are we went across that? And Peugeot, thanks for the asking that. That's a good question. MPG, I have no idea. We're going to find out though. Um, let's see, 2.3, 2.7, 3.5. That's 4 turbo motors. Yep. I'm gone in 60, called it out. Yeah, 23, 27, 30, 35. That is right. Have you seen, I think we mentioned it earlier, if you just joined us, have you been to the Ford Authority today and looked at the video that they have of the sound of the F-150 Ranger Raptor R? I mean, well, if you know what a Shelby Mustang sounds like, well, it should sound familiar. It is a cool, cool sounding vehicle. And the exhaust's a little bit different where it comes out of the back. So you're going to hear maybe a little bit more than it being lower and turned down. But yeah, it's definitely cool. All right, y'all got this, y'all got all this stuff going on that I just can't follow there. But anyway, so what do we want to talk about for the rest of our show tonight? Because I will be wrapping it up soon. We talked about the sand. Did I really talk about the sand that much? I did a little bit of the wheeling that I've done so far is on the beach. Pack sand, no big deal. You get to lose stuff. It's a little bit different. If Johnny's still watching, well, we'll talk offline about that, but I think we could do a video with stuff that we've already filmed about, needing to stop. So imagine this. So you have signs, like 10 of them staring at you, no stopping when you leave the beach and you hit the hard surface road. Well, I want to stop because I want to be able to switch or allow the Bronco to do the shifting from 4 high back to 2 high and to disengage lockers and whatnot. But if you don't stop, it keeps everything engaged. Now, is that normal? Is it a little quirk or feature? I don't really know. But I do know that if you stop, it shifts, and if you don't stop, it doesn't shift. You have to manually shift everything. So keep that in mind. Most places don't have like 10 signs telling you no stopping. But if you go to the Outerbanks, you're going to see that quite a bit, at least up in Corolla and Corova. Down at Oregon Inlet, when you turn off of Highway 12, you have a length of dirt, gravel, sand road that you can, pull over to the side and do whatever you need to do. So it's a little bit different. See, I thought you were going to reference the fact that, mobile, deep thought there. That's a good comment, Mobile. You're actually making me think about that. I don't know. Let me stick with what I do know. Driving the Badlands Bronco. So, like I said, when you're wheeling in the sand, you're doing stuff like that. If you feel it pushing, let up on the throttle, let it bite. Once it bites, ease into the throttle again. It's pretty cool. You're driving a long distance in sand, and especially if you got some high RPMs going, you're going to build a lot of engine heat, transmission heat. Let it idle down. I know I got a lot of grief for that video. You don't need to let it cool down. I videoed it Saturday. You should, at least in my humble opinion. Well, let me put it to you this way. We're going to, whether you do or not, it's up to you. Yeah, well, in Peugeot. So here's the problem with that. So when you leave the beach, you leave, you have to hit the asphalt, which depending on when they spread the sand, it might be a smooth transition or you might climb a foot on the asphalt, right? There's some slight corners, but when you get to the air up station, it's two hard rights, hard right. And it's not uncommon to hear that noise of the tires chattering, bouncing, making those right corners. So that's what I'm saying. If you're not paying attention to the little amber light, you got to manually disengage it and also look at the goat mode selectors knob. And if you don't stop, that'll still be in for high, right? So I know it's not an issue if you're going straight, but down there it's not straight. You do have a couple gradual turns, and then you have 2 hard 90s. So that's why I'm telling, and someone had mentioned on the radio when we were down there, they said, hey, make sure you disengage your locker. Well, if you stop, it will, but heaven's sakes, the 10 signs that tell you don't stop, you got to keep going. So you just manually do it there. Just something to keep an eye on. Is when you switch back to normal mode, pay attention to the amber lights on the hero switches and the selector knob to make sure that you are where you want to be, right? Normal would be too high. So anyway, I think enough of that, right? We got that, right? Let's see. Manny said, let's go wheeling out west next weekend. We might be able to do that, Manny. Let's talk offline. I know this weekend, I'm trying to think what we have, if anything, for next weekend. And like right now, I don't think we have anything that would be fun. We definitely need to do something. I need to hit the mountains. We haven't done that yet here. We've been to Tennessee. Well, no wheeling in the mountains at all, but drove in the mountains and see. Let's see. Going over 20 will disconnect the front locker. So when you're in sand mode, the natural selection is the Bronco engages rear and switches you to 4 high. So I haven't had the front locker in the sand, so I don't know. But yeah, and that's would be for steering, right? So if you're locked in the front, it's hard to drive. And Peugeot, thanks for that. That's a good point. I'll try that next time. We'll see. I mean, it should, I guess. But in sand, it locks the rear and goes to 4 high. And that's and I'm sure it changes the throttle response slightly. And of course, when you turn your Bronco off and you turn it on, you get a pop-up on the instrument cluster that asks if you want to return to that mode. It'll ask you that a couple different times. So it reminds you that you were in some mode, whether mud, rut, sand, slippery, Baja, if you have that. But yeah, Manny, let's look into that next weekend. That would be cool. All right, let's see. Iconic Bronco. Most people I come across at Bronco meets have been scared to off-road. Yeah, scared to off-road because of the unknown and also for breaking parts. Now, one thing for me, I don't claim to be a great off-roader. I'm just learning this stuff. So I'm admit it now. If it's high speed around a round track, I got you. Like no problem. But the off-road I'm learning and Bronco Off Rodeo really helped with that. And it gave me clarity. Not that you can't break something in a medium trail or a light, light off-road situation, but it's less likely, right? And gear management was something that we learned. So basically, if you don't need your front locker or rear locker, don't use it. If you don't need your stay bar disconnected, don't use it, right? I mean, if you need it, use it. That's what it's there for. But just don't ride around all day with it locked if you're on sand or like like a dirt road that's not muddy or anything. So gear management was huge. And so I think a lot of people, if they actually went to one of the off rodeos, it might give them a little more confidence that they're not just going to break it by going to that goat mode. But I do understand what you're saying, that is a real concern if you break it and then you're waiting forever to get it fixed. So I hear you. Nick said, I've got to finish my Bronco before I go wheeling anywhere. Well, hopefully that's coming up soon. What's the status on that? Where are you now? What do you have to do to get it on the road and like under its own power and drive and have some fun? That would be good. Oh, let's see here. Yeah, and Nick, that was your next comment. You'll go in the sand when you get your Bronco fixed. And that would be cool. John Burnett said, are there beach cops monitoring the tire pressure? So interesting. I haven't been asked, but of course, you're told that you could be checked. Your parking pass, your permit, whatever it takes. I guess theoretically they could, but I haven't seen that. I know I don't want to be the person to have a issue with a vehicle and, I'm the person with too much air in the tires or whatever, but I'm sure at some point that someone gets spot checked. especially if there's an issue, I'm sure it's like high on the list. And Peugeot said Baja mode is fun in the sand. I bet it is. I mean, it changes the throttle response, keeps it take the gears up higher. I guess that is that's probably that is the point of it, the Baja mode, right? Is to be able to just go out and rip it in the sand and have fun. But I don't mean to give all the excuses, but it's just the rules. When you go down there, it's 15 miles per hour in certain parts, 35 at certain times of the year. You're not doing it down there. If you do, you might be you and your Bronco might be visiting a chain link fence somewhere. Um, so I'm looking forward to going somewhere where you can, let it rip and do that stuff. But when you go down there, it's family friendly, a lot of people on the beach, and it's just like being on the road. Same same road rules that, you people stop, they signal when they're turning from the beach into the neighborhoods, by the way, that are back there in Corova that have no paved roads, no concrete driveways, no curb gutter, nothing. It's just sand. Um, Same road, road rules, that type thing. But I haven't been able to go rip it. Yeah. Yeah. Come on, the way you need to go send it. Yeah, and Tim, I also hear if you break something on video, it gets you more subs. Hmm. It's expensive though. And yeah, and who just said that? Iconic Bronco just said that about parts, right? You break it, if you send it and break it, you get some good video watch hours, but then like what do you do while you're waiting on the parts there? I don't know. Yeah, and Puzo said send it for low Baja mode locked. Oh yeah. I mean that's just like hardcore, as stiff as that Bronco is going to be, right? Um that would be fun. That's something I'd like to do in someone else's Bronco, not necessarily mine. That's an you can't do that off rodeo. Let's see. Nick said install the front axle and rebuilt the rear brakes, install the windshield, prep the engine to get it running. Cool. What kind of engine, Nick, do you have in there? I think you've probably told me in the past, but is a 302, 280? Well, it depends on what year it is. It's post 68, it'd be a 302. But what do you have in there? Let's see, Nick. I'll be taking it to the shop to get all the things done. Just want to get it finished. Yeah, Nick. I definitely want to see the pictures of it as well. Subs equals sponsors equals money, and then the money fixes the brake that got you the subs. And sponsors are a little. We actually have had a lot of attention on that lately, which we do have a sponsor we're going to be doing a video with, but we're very selective, right? I am looking forward to doing this product review because it's a product that I actually have been using and it actually works. So we're going to be doing that. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, I know that's the basic. Go tear it up and film it, and but I just don't have it in me right now. Let's see, Bronco 78. That's why you have two Broncos. Yeah, I hear you. However, if you go wheeling and break it, is it warranted? Depends on, I guess, what you do. Hoping Nick put a 4-valve Cleveland. Well, the 351 Cleveland, it's a cool engine. I know Bronco 78 has a 351M, which there again is a solid workhorse. No factories, not a lot of horsepower, but it's there, it's torque, and it goes and it runs. And by the way, it does sound good going up the mountains in Tennessee, by the way. It's the sound like you wish all of the Broncos had. Yeah, you still have one to drive when you're waiting on the parts. Yeah, but something tells me, So Nick has a 302. That's a very good engine. I know quite a bit about 302s. They are solid depending on the year. You get all the little quirks and features there, but 302 is good. Overlanding for fun. I bet we can hook you up with a Bronco at Supercell and send it. Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice next year. somebody needs to send it. Like they need to have you know, have the mud bog, right? The pit and everything. They need to have the send it pit type thing. So Nick also has a 351 Windsor. Now that is interesting. I like Windsors. Windsors you can do a lot of cool stuff with. A Boss 351. So you get in some of these bigger engines. Um, there are a lot of cool stuff that you can do. I picked a 30. Well, we started with a 302. Of course, it's a 347, but we did that for weight and the power band on that car. It's not like a Bronco where you carry it with the turbos, naturally aspirated 2.4s, and I know fuel injected is better. I get it, but it's old school. It looks cool, but it looks like a EKG, right? If you look at the horsepower and the torque, I mean, it builds horsepower and then it drops off the other side, but it builds it pretty well. So 30, yeah, I just like the 302s anyway. Let's see. Probably won't do anything with the 351. I hear you. No, we had a 73 Mustang with a Cleveland in it. Now I don't know what engine came in that particular car, but someone had replaced it and it had a Cleveland in it. It was a strong engine. I mean, you had so much cool stuff you could do with it. Now this was this was 80s parts, right? So who knows what you could do to one now. But back in the 80s, I mean, you could make some serious horsepower with a 351 Cleveland. All right, so well, let's wrap this up for tonight. Let's talk about some Ranger stuff next week because I am going to drop a video about the Ranger in general, and part of that will be the Ranger Raptor. But the Ranger is just a cool vehicle. Our friends down in Australia, they've been enjoying the Ranger. I guess that was the big launch. The big official rollout launch here in the States is coming up. I mean, we all know what it's going to look like. You've seen the rollout down under, but it's going to be cool. And to see how well paired the new Ranger, especially say the Wild Track, is going to be to the Bronco, or the Ranger Raptor to the Bronco. It's going to be really cool to see what parts are shared. I think that's going to be a fun conversation for us to get into in the future. And that is it. Hey, I want to go back through these comments. We're going to go from the bottom up because I don't want to miss anyone. I'm going to 60 says, I think the new Ranger refresh looks awesome. Can't wait till we get one at the dealership. I bet you can't because that is going to be a hot seller. We talked about earlier, I don't know if you were in here then, the mid-size truck wars are coming. And yeah, Ford is, they're showing up with a big stick for sure. Like they got like the big, let's see, John Bird. Good night, John. Have a good one, Nick. I do have a 1967 Mustang Fastback that I could put a 351 in. You absolutely could on a 67. A little bit wider shock towers there. Impizo, good night. Thanks for tuning in for the night. I think that was it. And we hit it. So everyone that's tuned in tonight, thank you very much. I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, think about our friends over at All Terrain Nation tonight. They're having a rough week, and our hearts go out to them and our prayers. And if you're still watching, Dave and Kelly, good night. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate everyone watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you didn't already, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I can't wait to see you next week. Watch out for a video downloading this week. All right, everyone. See you. Have a great night. I appreciate you. Bye.